Hi everybody. Well, I'm disappointed. Not one Kool-Aid drinker had the guts to comment on my latest pinefaux Pro review of the reviewers. So they're all cowards. So anyway, we're gonna do some more because I just picked one at random today, and I'm 14 seconds into it, and he's already lying about it. So I'm gonna back it up to the beginning, and we're gonna go over it together. What, and we'll try and figure out what the fuck's the matter with these guys. Okay, here we go.
Are probably the most successful company produced last decade. But why not add a third option to the ring? Linux phones. That's what Pine 64 is.
Hang on, I'm gonna start it over again. I'm gonna pause you for a minute. I'll be back. I want to get right at the beginning. Okay, let's see if we got it right this time.
iOS or Android? The debate of the last decade. But why not add a third option to the ring? Linux phones. That's what Pine 64 has been doing for years now.
Okay, so he talks about iOS and Android, two phone manufacturers. Add the third one, Linux phones. They've been doing this for a couple of years now. Last time I heard, it's not. It doesn't work. So what the fuck's he talking about? Let's listen some more.
Their Pine phone and many other products. They are probably the most successful company producing Linux phones. Sorry, not sorry. Today they have announced their brand.
Most successful company producing Linux phones that don't make phone calls very well and make better computers. And if you watch my other videos, I'll show you all the examples of how that's true. What's this guy talking about? They don't make phones; they make computers.
Brand new PinePhone Pro, an upgraded PinePhone starting at $399, and I wanted to walk through the details so you know what to expect hardware-wise, software-wise, if it's a good fit for those of you trying to avoid big tech, when you can get it, and our thoughts on it.
Oh, I can hardly
We
wait
don't
for
want to
this.
miss out on this, so let's get started.
Yes, let's do that.
The previous PinePhone wasn't meant to be a powerhouse, and in some ways that held it back from being that dream alternative to iOS and Android devices. If you want to learn more about the original Pine,
So there's another comment about how the old phone sucked, and now they're finally admitting that it sucked.
PinePhone Short Circuit did a review of it. I'll leave in a description. The PinePhone Pro takes it to the next level with significantly more storage out of the box, a faster hexa-core processor, a bit more RAM, and an overall cleaner, more premium build, including Gorilla Glass 4, a 13-megapixel rear camera, and 5-megapixel front-facing camera, a more premium backing to minimize fingerprints, and some other minor changes that we'll look into when we get our hands on one. It's also worth mentioning there are efficiency improvements, which I'm all about, and something called...
So this guy doesn't have one, but he's doing a review on it. And I don't know what to say anymore. What the hell's he talking about? You notice his list of new and improved stuff didn't include anything to do with phoning anyone.
Suspend state, which will allow the PinePhone Pro to receive calls and SMS in the background without using much battery. You know, like every other phone. And I almost forgot, there are kill switches for those of you who want to disable radios on the fly. We can't test the performance yet, but we've been told by Pine 64 that using the interface, watching videos, opening applications, and browsing the internet is pretty much on par with recent mid-range Android devices. SuperTux Kart, PSP, and Dreamcast emulation are supposedly working well, and they've even done some light photo editing when docked to an external monitor, which is a large selling point.
There's that
to this
external
device.
monitor
So
again.
it's the hardware situation. It's definitely an improvement, but I would look...
And it's a selling point. I'm sorry, I don't connect monitors to my cell phone. I don't, really. Who does that?
At the Pro label as Pro for the Pine phone. This competes with budget offerings for other manufacturers, not necessarily the pros of flagship devices. Pine 64 here is competing against other Linux phones, which is currently mostly just them, so this is kind of the most pro phone you're going to find in this realm. For me, the hardware is fine. I don't do much on my phone, but for some...
Did he just say the PinePhone is competing against itself? I gotta run that back, make sure I heard that correctly.
Is competing against other Linux phone, which is currently mostly just them.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
kind
it's
of
not
the
competing
most
against
growth
anyone. There's
you're gonna
nothing.
find in this
There's
realm.
nothing. There's not one
For
to
me,
compete
the
against.
hardware is
None of them
fine.
work.
I don't do much on my phone, but for some of you, this may push you away from the device, and you know what? We're both valid. The software is
Sorry, I ranted. Let's back it up.
you're going to find in this realm. For me, the hardware is fine. I don't do much on my phone, but for some of you, this may push you away from your device, and you know what? We're both valid. The software is where things get fun. Like I said, this runs Linux, specifically Manjaro with KDE Plasma Mobile. This is the same OS from the original.
My phone came with that. It really sucked.
There are several other operating systems at your disposal that you can flip in and out.
And all
on
the rest of
fly
them
if
suck
you're
as well.
interested in using something else.
None of them makes it work as a
Software,
phone.
in my opinion, is going to be the most drastic change for many of you. There's no subway surfers. In fact, there isn't much of a formal mobile app store. In its current state, you should look at this phone as running a desktop operating system.
Ah, there we go.
Scaled down to
It's-
work on a phone.
there we go.
with
It's not a
SMS
phone.
calling support, rather than a mobile operating system designed for phones from the ground up.
There you go.
But
They're admitting
I
it.
actually
It's not a
have
phone.
used a Linux phone, so if you disagree with this assessment, let me know in the comments, and I'd love to hear what
I
you
disagree.
agree.
No, you're bang on. I've been saying it for a long time now. For 6 months, I've been saying it's not a phone. Thank you for admitting it.
Rely on traditional applications built for only mobile devices. I know you people exist. Now, Ambox is a wonderful project that runs Android applications.
Okay, I think we've had enough of him. It's
There
gotten
are
into
some
something else.
limitations of going to
All right, I'll cue up the next one. Oh, this has got to be a good one. It's an interview with the manufacturer. I can't wait to see what they have to say. Here we go. PinePhone Pro is here. Exclusive interview. I'll have to sit back and enjoy this one.
We are so freaking excited to have WooCast from Pine64 back on Destination Linux Network because Pine64 has just been killing it lately. A month ago, you joined us on Destination Linux to let everyone know in an exclusive interview about the sick Linux-powered e-ink tablet that you're working on called the Pine Note. And just when we thought we reached maximum excitement, you go and decide to one-up yourselves and answer a call that many people from the community have been looking forward to. Get it? Answer a call.
Come on, not now, Michael. No dad jokes during this announcement.
Hey, that was a good one, though.
Good. Okay.
Ha ha ha. Let's see if it actually works.
Okay, I think it's time to let everyone know what the excitement is all about. So, I mean, they likely already saw the title of the episode, but still, what have y'all been cooking up in the Pine 64 kitchen?
So what we have been cooking up is the PinePhone Pro, which I know is something with people hoping will end up doing, and I think that it has been clear for quite some time that it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. And today, October 15th, is the date 2 years ago since we shipped the original PinePhones out to developers, so it's just fitting to introduce the PinePhone Pro.
So I just want to remind everyone to look at my previous video from yesterday of the other reviews where everyone is saying it's still not going to be a daily driver. So I don't know what this guy's talking about, but I think I got a delivery, so stand. Okay, let's continue.
On this very day.
This is such amazing news. And as a hardware guy, I've got to know in the Pro line, what kind of hardware are we putting into the PinePhone Pro?
We have been working very closely with Rockchip and their engineering team to alter an SoC which you probably all know of.
Yeah, I know. You don't like the PinePhone either.
399,
I know,
which
it's
we
awful.
use in the Rock Pro 64
PinePhone
and
desktop,
the PineBook Pro.
tiny desktop.
It has been altered by their engineers. These are what's called binned chips, so they run much cooler, they run at a slower clock, and they're voltage locked to a particular
They run much cooler. Apparently the old PinePhone ran too hot. You make one phone call after 10 minutes, your ears burning off. That was always fun.
voltage, which is suitable for within such a small confined space as within a smartphone. We're pairing it with 4 gigs of LPDDR4 RAM.
That's nice. That's really nice.
Oh, it's another it's
And
another
so this has got
marketing.
to be a lot more
video.
snappy then, because you're taking the chip out of your Pro line laptop.
Yeah,
You're taking
it's
the
a
4
laptop
gigs
and a
of
phone. Ow!
LPDDR4 RAM
Ow!
at 800
Ow!
megahertz.
Ow! Ow!
I mean, I'm assuming you have
Kittens have
in your
very
hand
sharp
one of
claws.
these
Yes,
devices.
like
How much snappier
razors.
is it in your
Razors,
experience
eh?
compared to the original PinePhone?
It's genuinely very snappy.
Razor claws.
We
Yeah.
have had both an experience with running already Linux builds on it, and in terms of just having, the UI and opening applications, that's all silky smooth, and it performs really well. We have also had a internal build of Android from Rockchip. This is not something which is going to be here. It's something that we're not going to be shipping or making even available. This is just an engineering. But it absolutely blew me away how well and how fluidly it ran on the PinePhone Pro. So yeah, it's a well matched up piece of kit.
That's very nice. And then the storage and other things, what are some of the other specs of it?
Yeah, so we're shipping it with 128 gigs of
This is so exciting. The
MMC.
PinePhone
Nice.
Pro.
You can
The-
fit
the
an
new
even
phone that's
bigger,
not a phone, it's a
SD card
desktop in a
into it
phone.
if you so choose. We have a
I'm gonna skip this
1440
ahead of it
by
because they're
720.
just repeating
It's
themselves.
called an inset. Yes, it is, and has really good mainline Linux support, which is one of the reasons we chose it. So it has been quite broadly available for all sorts of SD cards on the Pinebook Pro and on the Rock Pro 64, so that will definitely work. But I suppose a 1 terabyte card would work as well. I think these are fairly inexpensive these days as well.
You gotta have
Yeah.
plenty of
Don't
room
quote
to
me on this.
put your code in, right?
Cash, can you tell us about the GPU? I'm looking forward to hearing about this.
It's a really solid GPU. It's the T860 with 4 cores. We have worked with Rockchip to kind of zero in on the maximum frequency that it can run within the chassis of
Sounds
the
like
iPhone
they're
Pro.
overclocking
And we
it.
settled on 500 megahertz. We are leaving the GPU unlocked. So if somebody figures out a way to utilize the GPU at a higher frequency,
Like I said,
for their
overclocked.
purposes without having the temperatures reach a very high degrees,
And this is the first viewing
then
of
we
this
are
for
leaving
me.
that up to end users to experiment.
Challenge accepted.
Nice. Woohoo!
Yeah, woohoo! How fast will it make
Yes,
phone
but in
calls with that
general,
GPU?
We targeted.
What's the matter with these
for
people?
the
It's supposed to be a
phone's,
phone.
SoC to reach a maximum of 60 degrees under sustained load, non-artificial load. So not like running, some crazy benchmark. I mean, that will make it throttle, but just like regular workload and having it spike at 60 degrees Celsius is what we aimed for.
You know,
Wukash, you mentioned
I
that
wish
Rockchip's
Freedom Phone
engineering
was out
team
earlier,
have been
so I could've
working
just
with
bought
you,
one of
and
them and
you have fine-tuned
had
the
a
SoC's
decent phone that
performance,
wasn't
battery
spying on
consumptions,
me.
and things like that.
But
For
no, I
people
ended
who
up
maybe
buying the
aren't
brick.
familiar with Rockchip, could you tell us a little bit more about who the people at Rockchip are and what it's been like to work with them?
Who cares?
Yeah, so Rock the prototype and test it on
I'm
the
moving
various
it ahead, 'cause it's
circumstances,
really boring.
as well as do some low-level enabling for us.
Wow.
They've worked very closely with us.
You know,
as
I'm
well
gonna-
as
I'm gonna
with,
pause you for a minute.
some
I'm gonna
of our
skip through all the
community
crap.
Developers. So
Listen to
we
this
felt
one,
that,
guys.
there is a reason to approach them and ask them for help, but we never expected to get as much help as we did in the end.
Very nice.
Oh, that's awesome. So, Wukash, it's safe to say we're so excited about this news. But before we dive any deeper, let's talk about two of the biggest questions our audience and us will have from this announcement.
What are the 2 questions? Anybody take a guess? The question won't be about how the phone doesn't work, and 2, what I don't know what the second one will be, but I can't wait to find out what the audience questions and their questions are. How big a monitor can I plug into it? Okay, here we go.
Like, what's the price of the PinePhone Pro?
Price?
The iPhone Pro is $399 US.
It's a sales marketing video.
Perfect. That puts it right, in the middle of
In the middle of
price
what?
Pine.
Well,
Bad
even
and
less-
crappy part
less than the
behind
middle
phones?
of what you're seeing in the market today. Because mid-grade phones now,
About
I'm seeing go for
$1,000, yeah.
$699. High-end,
Yeah, but those phones work, you idiot. They work. That's why they're $699.
$1,000 plus. Super high-end now, $1799 and more. This is
And then there's the phone for stupid people who buy Apple products. That's only the ones that pay $17.99 have no brains.
coming in really at a fantastic price, especially considering.
And the thing about $6.99 and $17.99, they actually work as a phone. Yours doesn't.
The supply constraints and things going on right now.
Yeah, definitely. And when can we get one?
Who cares?
So on
Who the hell would
today,
want one?
when
A
this
phone that's not a
episode
phone.
airs
It's a
on October
desktop.
15th, as we're announcing the PinePhone Pro, we're also making development units available to developers. So they can, if you are watching this and you
I gotta stop this because I'm just thinking about all the comments I got about not comparing it with the current leaders in the phone market, and didn't they just do that? Didn't they just do that right there? Compared it with Android and iOS phones. Didn't they just do that? But the Kool-Aid drinker said no, you can't. It's not fair to compare them with that. And they're right because it doesn't work like a phone. It's a mini computer. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out before I forgot.
you're a developer, then please file an application for a coupon purchase code with us. We will be obviously primarily targeting established project, but if you have worked with a lot of different mobile devices, have a long history, and you can show us on GitHub that you have done some excellent work, then we're more than happy to sell it to you at this point. But for end users, we
Here we
will
go.
be opening pre-orders this year, and we hope to start shipping in December or January.
So let's just recap that for end users. They hope to be ordered. Well, is it going to work as a phone? End users don't want to attach monitors and write code. I'm going to back that up so we can hear that again.
You have done some excellent work, then we're more than happy to sell it to you at this point. But for end users, we will be opening pre-orders this year, and we hope to start shipping in December or January.
So I sent my application in. I hope as a developer that you guys accept it. My GitHub has the Michael AI bot.
I
in it.
also forked the Michael AI bot, so
You forked the Michael AI bot. Yeah, so we should both get one. Yeah, we'll see.
So that's awesome, and I can't wait. And so far,
Yeah,
I've liked
I'm
every answer
tickle
that you
pink.
have given. And this next one might be a doozy. Will the PinePhone Pro be powerful enough to be a daily driver?
Yes.
Ah!
In terms of the hardware specs, definitely.
And how about in reality?
And, mobile Linux mobile operating systems, it definitely will be perfectly sufficient to be your daily driver. The reason why I hesitated is because there are obviously constraints with the operating systems themselves, and
He's
what it
blaming the
means,
software.
what daily driver means to individual people is quite different.
No,
So,
no, it isn't.
some-
Everyone's the same. They want the phone to work like a phone, like the $17.99 iPhone or the $700 Samsung that you talked about 2 minutes ago. They want it all to work the same. They don't have different opinions on that. Everybody has the same opinion. They expect it to work. More Kool-Aid people?
Anybody who knows what they're getting into, absolutely, it is. If you have a PinePhone and you only wish that it would be faster, more snappy, more responsive,
I wish that it would work
and
properly.
otherwise you're happy with what you're
As a
seeing,
phone.
then yes, this will be your daily driver, no doubt. If you are a person who relies on
I think he's a liar, and
many
time will tell.
proprietary Android applications, who has all sorts of.
It's becoming pretty clear to me that the target market is Linux developers, not end users, because there's nothing for end users in the old phone or the current phone, and no promises that they're going to guarantee that it's going to be one. It's all I hesitate, So that means I don't want to lie to you, so I'm keeping quiet.
Requirements to watch DRM media, be it Netflix or Amazon, then this probably will not be your daily driver. So it depends how we define it.
That's very cool. I mean,
Let's run that back.
Great applications who has all sorts of requirements to watch DRM media, be it Netflix or Amazon, then this probably will not be your daily driver. So
Okay, so digital rights management videos. Nobody cares about a phone doing that. They care more that it works as a phone. So I'm not sure. He's gaslighting us now.
depends how we define it.
that's very cool. I mean, I'm glad to hear that it is a daily driver, and I kind of expected the software to.
Yeah, but the other 4 reviews I showed you in yesterday's video, other people say no, it's not. So who's right here? This guy or the 4 guys before me?
Not be there just yet, but I also wanted to say that I appreciate the Pine 64s and your transparency and honesty. It never really
Transparency and honesty. This is a comedy show.
the page to buy the product, and it gives you like a list of like, you should know who this is for before you even buy it. And there's that's a rare thing in technology at this point. So it's one of the key components of why I'm such a fan of what y'all are doing. So that's just great, really. So I totally understand the perspective, and I can't wait for the software to catch up to the hardware of this.
Well, isn't that your job?
Yeah, I mean, I'm of the
What are you
opinion
waiting
that
for?
it's
Get
better
busy.
to have 10 happy customers than 100 unhappy ones. It makes much more sense.
10 happy
let
coders
people
and
know what
100
they're getting into.
and 100 end
We've
users.
had,
That's what he just
we've
said.
had some people purchase the Pine phone with certain expectations and then being really unhappy. And
Well, that's because
not good for anyone.
you
It's
call
not
it
good
a
for the
phone,
person
but
who
it doesn't work as a phone,
the device.
and everyone
It's
wants to
not good
plug
for
monitors into it
surround
and write code.
So, I
So
have
no wonder
issue
we're
with
unhappy.
people exactly what it is that they're getting into.
Wukash,
Maybe if you didn't lie on your website and not suggest it's going to be for end users, just say, well, look, it doesn't work very well right now. You probably shouldn't buy it if you can't deal with it not working properly. That's what you should have said, not these convoluted, oh, it's only for experienced Linux users and you don't really say why that is. And so you deceive people. It's called fraud.
one thing I am a little concerned about is what the plan for the original Pine phone is going to be. I'm glad that we have the new
chipper.
Pine phone Pro, and we're all
It's
very excited
destined
to
for the
play with
chipper.
it and potentially use it as a daily driver. But what about those of us that have been served extraordinarily well by the original Pine phone? Are you going to be continuing to offer those configurations?
Someone's being served well?
And what about the convergence plate?
Absolutely. Both of the current Pine phone offerings, so that would be the regular
Clearly,
Pine phone for
clearly, all these people were
$150,
given
and
scripts for
then
this.
the
This is not
$200. It's,
off the cuff
It's going to be around
commenting.
for as long as there's demand
This
for
is-
it.
this
as
is-
long as we can
this
source
is
components,
pre-planned.
for it.
Everyone's memorized their
My
scripts
estimate is
and
that we have
they're
now
reading off the page.
outsold the previous most sold Linux phone by tenfolds. So I think it has become the de facto standard for.
You sold a lot of
development
phones because you lied about its
for Linux
capabilities.
development. So I don't think that we're going to be seeing the Pine phone going away anytime soon.
Oh yes, we are very soon.
There's nothing to worry about there. There's also a group of people, and this kind of relates to the previous topic we spoke about, the PinePhone Pro being or not being somebody's daily driver. There's a group of people who just want to toy around with Linux operating systems on a phone. And the PinePhone makes that incredibly easy.
Yeah, but that's your market. That's really what you targeted it for, because you deceived everyone else, because it's not a phone.
And a affordable way to get into it and see if you like it, if you find this thrilling. So there's there's definitely a market for that, and I think that it's gonna be the de facto development platform for years to come.
I fit that criteria of wanting to play with the phone, and that's one of the reasons I got it. So that's very cool. And also the convergence package.
I got it because I
have-
wanted
I've used that dock so
a
much.
phone that
it's
doesn't
kinda-
spy on me and
it's
then
ridiculous.
actually use it as
And
a phone.
it's
That's what I bought it
so
for.
I assume that's going to
I'm
be.
very disappointed because it doesn't do any of that.
Phone Pro as well.
Absolutely, yes. We will be definitely making a dock for the
Okay,
iPhone
you know
Pro.
what? This video is getting way too long, so I'm gonna end it now. I just want to puke. Clearly, all my previous videos, I was absolutely correct in my analogy of what was going to happen and what we'd end up with, and how it would never come to be a functioning phone, and they've just given the original Pine phone the kiss of death with this new one that's no better, except that the hardware is a little better, but otherwise it still sucks like the same phone. Anyway, guys, I've had enough of this, so I'll post it as it is, and don't be a coward. Give me some feedback on why you love the Pine phone that isn't a phone.